Welcome to this explainer. So, if you're a founder or a product manager, you probably already know that outsourcing mobile app development can kind of feel like walking a tightrope blindfolded, right? You absolutely want top-tier engineering, but, well, you've got to manage costs, and that's exactly why Eastern Europe is just an absolute powerhouse for tech talent right now. But here's the thing. Picking the wrong partner isn't just a mild headache. It's literally an existential threat to your product and your budget. So today we're taking a highly critical data-backed look at the top 5 app development companies in Eastern Europe for 2026. We'll be focusing on the very real risks of outsourcing and, honestly, more importantly, how to avoid them.
Let's start with a really harsh truth straight from our source material. Quote, most apps don't fail at launch, they fail 6 months later, unquote. Think about that for a second. We spend so much energy obsessing over launch day, don't we? The PR pushes, the massive marketing spend, that initial rush of getting those first downloads. But the actual danger zone in app development? It's not launch day at all. It's half a year down the line, because that is exactly when the hidden technical debt comes calling.
This dynamic perfectly captures what goes wrong in that critical 6-month window. Just imagine this total nightmare scenario for a moment. A crash-prone update goes live, and suddenly, it completely tanks your App Store rating. You're just staring at a sea of 1-star reviews. Users are deleting your app left and right because it's draining their battery or freezing their phones. And the worst part? Nobody budgeted for the massive architectural fix that is now absolutely required to save it. Poor partner selection leads directly to this exact scenario. The team you pick from day one literally determines which outcome you get. So think of this explainer not just as a list of agencies, but as a crucial risk mitigation strategy. We've created a list of 5 highly specialized companies with real, verified App Store results to make sure you don't just survive, but you actually thrive way past that 6-month mark.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, Compliance and Enterprise Scale. It's time to meet the heavyweights, DBB Software and Netguru. To really wrap our heads around the scale we're talking about here, let's talk about the number 450,000. That is the active user base for a sustainable e-commerce app that was totally rebuilt by our first agency, DBB Software. And listen, that app didn't just function smoothly, it went on to generate $4 million in gross merchandise value. That's a huge deal. It's exactly the kind of measurable, large-scale business impact a well-engineered app can actually deliver when it's built right.
So, the real question is, how exactly does DBB Software pull off those kinds of numbers? Well, based in Kraków, Poland, they offer an incredibly competitive hourly rate between $25 and $49. Plus, they boast a flawless 5.0 clutch rating. But here's the kicker. Here's what really matters. They've got over 100 engineers who are honestly absolutely obsessed with performance details. We are talking about strict, non-negotiable targets for a buttery smooth 60 frames per second interface and super fast cold starts. And they've got the track record to prove it. For instance, they delivered a functional MVP for a UK rail ticketing startup in just 12 weeks. They also build a really complex diabetic retinopathy care platform using Flutter, and because they hold an ISO IEC 27001 certification, they're perfectly equipped to build architectures that actually comply with HIPAA, GDPR, and PCI DSS. Oh, and I absolutely love their structured approach. They offer a fixed-price discovery phase for exactly $1,777. It's a fantastic way to settle your whole native versus cross-platform debate before you commit your main budget.
Okay, moving on to another massive metric to introduce our second heavyweight. The number is 73. This is a Net Promoter Score, or NPS. Now, if you're at all familiar with enterprise software development and client satisfaction metrics, you know for a fact that keeping clients this happy across a huge volume of work is incredibly hard to pull off. Maintaining an NPS of 73 at a true enterprise scale? That is honestly outstanding.
And the agency holding that super impressive score is Netguru, located in Poznań, Poland. They come in at an hourly rate of $50 to $99, holding a stellar 4.8 clutch rating. Netguru really represents true enterprise scale in Eastern Europe. I mean, they have a massive workforce of over 400 employees and have delivered well over 2,500 projects since they started back in 2008. But you know what makes Netguru really stand out? It's their proven ability to deliver measurable business outcomes rather than just writing raw code. For example, our source highlights a specific marketplace project they integrated for OLX Group's Autodom. That project resulted in a highly concrete 21% increase in conversion. So, if you're a large enterprise and you need a massive multi-team studio to actually move the needle on your core commerce or finance metrics, Netguru has the sheer capacity to handle the whole shebang.
Moving right along to Section 2, Design and Critical Systems. Let's explore some niche expertise with STRV and Panaxeo.
Nothing says high stakes quite like $12 billion. Seriously, that is the jaw-dropping amount of funding that STRV's venture-backed clients have collectively raised. And you know, when investors are pouring that kind of massive capital into a startup, the technical due diligence they run on development partners is just brutal. So the simple fact that these highly scrutinized companies trust STRV, that instantly validates their top-tier credibility in the market.
Let's break down exactly what makes STRV so incredibly attractive to those funded startups. Based in Prague, Czechia, the rate sits between $100 and $149 an hour. This really reflects their premium positioning, which is backed by a great 4.8 clutch rating. They've built a very diverse team of over 200 people spanning more than 20 nationalities. Now, what's really fascinating about their methodology is how they handle design. In-house product designers work directly alongside the engineers right from day one. It's not treated as some external dependency or worse, an afterthought. This deeply design-forward approach makes them the perfect partner for consumer brands that just demand premium, totally flawless native mobile engineering. Plus, they're listed on the Deloitte Fast 500 EMA, which is just fantastic independent proof of their sustained business growth.
Okay, before we introduce our next agency, we really need to clearly define a very specific, incredibly important concept here. Correctness-critical systems. What are they? Basically, these are software architectures built for highly regulated, high-stakes domains. Think MedTech or FinTech. In these fields, a software error isn't just an annoying little glitch. It is a critical compliance failure or literally a health risk. These kinds of systems demand strict, verifiable compliance like SOC 2, HIPAA, or FDA 21 CFR Part 11. Your standard run-of-the-mill app development simply isn't going to cut it for the health and finance sectors. You absolutely need a dedicated specialist.
And to give you a sense of what a real correctness-critical specialist can comfortably handle, consider the number 50,000. That is the number of daily transactions that are securely and flawlessly processed by a fintech application built by our next agency. When highly sensitive financial data or personal health information is on the line, performance and absolute reliability under pressure is just everything. That ultra-reliable specialist is Panaxeo, based out of Bratislava, Slovakia. At $50 to $99 an hour and rocking a perfect 5.0 clutch rating, their team of 70-plus engineering professionals is exactly who you want to call for those correctness-critical systems we just talked about. They have deep, proven expertise in SOC 2 Type 2, HIPAA, FDA, and GDPR compliance architectures. And the best part, they don't sacrifice system speed for all that security either. Our source notes that they actually achieved a massive 10x load time improvement for a highly complex, cancer-focused software project. It's incredible. If your application operates in a domain where strict compliance is simply non-negotiable, Panaxeo brings exactly that kind of rigorous discipline to the table.
Which brings us to Section 3, Framework, Experts, and Final Review. Let's look at LeanCode's niche in our ultimate decision matrix.
To introduce our final company on the list, LeanCode, we only need to highlight one simple number, 2. Why does that matter? Because LeanCode has exactly 2 engineers on staff who are officially recognized as Google developer experts for Dart and Flutter. Just having one of those experts on a team is a massive advantage, right? But having 2 on staff, that is a huge, unique advantage that proves absolute technical mastery over the framework. LeanCode is based over in Warsaw, Poland. Their rate sits at $50 to $99 an hour, and they also boast a flawless 5.0 clutch rating. With over 80 engineers and more than 100 projects under their belt, what really sets them apart is that Flutter is their core specialty. It's not just one of several frameworks they kind of offer as an add-on, it is what they do best. And hey, if you're ever wondering if a cross-platform framework like Flutter can actually handle enterprise-level security, LeanCode has delivered highly secure banking-grade builds for Credit Agricole Bank Polska and Millennium Bank. So if your company is totally committed to a Flutter build, LeanCode is hands down the definitive go-to expert.
Okay, let's pull all of this together and synthesize everything we've covered today into one clear, pragmatic breakdown. If you're a decision maker, this is definitely the cheat sheet you're going to want to keep in mind. So we've got 5 highly vetted companies, and each one brings a very distinct strength to the table. DBB Software? They're your efficient, performance-driven pick, backed by that huge 450,000 user app and their 12-week MVP benchmark. Then we have Netguru, the undisputed choice for sheer enterprise scale, proven by that incredible NPS of 73. If you're looking for premium, design-forward native engineering, STRV is completely validated by their Deloitte Fast 500 status. For those high-stakes, correctness-critical domains handling tens of thousands of secure daily transactions, Panaxeo is your dedicated specialist. And finally, for banking-grade, expert-level Flutter delivery, LeanCode really stands alone.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly most important provocative thought for you to take away today. Which exact strength on that matrix matches the app you're building right now?
Remember that start quote from the very beginning of our explainer. You aren't just hiring a team to celebrate launch day. You're selecting a specialized partner to make sure you survive and grow way past that dangerous 6-month post-launch trap. If you align your specific project requirements with the right specialized partner, you're setting your product up for lasting success. Thank you so much for learning with me today on this explainer. I really hope this structured breakdown empowers you to make your next big technical decision with absolute confidence.